There are guys who have had great NBA careers who weren't able to get into an All-Star game. And I thought about that the other day. Bruce Bowen comes to mind, at least for me as a Spurs fan, that this guy should have been in the All-Star game like 3 or 4 times, at least in his career, due to him helping the Spurs win. Like he had a huge role in helping them win. Was he the best player on those championship teams with Tim, Tony, and Manu? No, but he was a huge piece that without him, they don't win those championships. They really needed him. I always say that Tim Duncan was the defensive anchor of that team, while Bruce was the guy on the perimeter, the lockdown guy on the perimeter that could guard positions 1 through 3. He can guard the point guard, the shooting guard, the small forward. This guy could guard any of those 3 positions and lock down all-star, superstar caliber players. He did it so many times. I enjoyed watching him do it. He knew how to frustrate these guys. Like, to me, he was the most fun defensive player to watch because you could see how he would frustrate the hell out of these guys. Like, they would just go crazy because Bruce was relentless, the way he would run after them, the way he would just be up in their face, swiping at them. He had quick hands. And I'm not going to lie, yeah, he was dirty. He did have that dirty move where he would put his foot underneath their ankle, which I don't think was right. So I'm definitely going to say that was wrong. But he was a great defensive player. Even when you factor in the dirtiness, he really got underneath these guys' skin. He was huge for them. And for me, like there's so many moments that stick out about Bruce during those championship runs. Like the moment that sticks out to me the most was his series against the Lakers back in 2003, because that was a year that Spurs eliminated the Lakers, who were 3-time defending champs at that time. There was a lot of hype about them doing the impossible of winning the championship for the 4th time in a row, which hadn't been done since the Russell Celtics. And so that series was big, and I'll never forget how Bruce played Kobe throughout that series because it was huge. Without the job Bruce did against Kobe, Spurs definitely would not have won that series. Like there was this one game where it was game 2 of that series where Bruce actually outscored Kobe. Well, not outscored him, played him to a draw when it came to the offensive end. He dropped 27 points on Kobe, and that was on, I'm just looking up right now. Let me just pull that up. 27 points, the shooting percentage. Yeah, in that game, he had 27 points on 83% shooting from the field. He shot 7 to 8 from 3. He just lit up Kobe pretty badly in that game, while Kobe only had 27 points, but it was on 9 of 24 shooting, 37% from the field. So he shot terribly. So Bruce outplayed him on both ends of the court that it was so bad. Kobe took it personal and said after the game that there's no way that Bruce is a better player than him, which no one ever disputed. Everyone knew Kobe was better than Bruce, but the fact that he took it so personally, he had to tell people that, was funny, and it kind of baited Kobe not to play in a team like setting, in the sense that he was playing 105 instead of 5-on-5 for the rest of that series. I felt in a lot of these games trying to prove himself. So it's kind of like Bruce rage baited him to some degree, which was funny. And then the capper in that series was game 6, where Bruce played great defense on him in the second half of the game 6, in which the Spurs humiliated the Lakers, eliminated them on their home court, defeating them 110-82. And in that game, Kobe had 20 points, but he had 7 turnovers, which was all due to Bruce Bowen's swarming defense that frustrated him. He locked him up so bad that Kobe ended up crying on the bench, just filled in tears. The way Kobe's crying reminded me how some of these girls cry on the Maury Povich show when they find out that their boyfriend isn't the father of their kids. That's how bad he made Kobe cry in that game. That was very enjoyable. I will never forget that game. To me, one of my favorite games of Spurs history, and Bruce deserves a lot of credit, for that win. And then you look at Bruce's career, like this guy had 8 All-NBA defensive teams, 5 All-NBA defensive first teams, 3 All-NBA defensive second teams, and he finished as Defensive Player of the Year runner up 3 years in a row from 2004 till 2007. Those 2 years in a row, he lost to Ben Wallace. And then the third year, he lost to Marcus Camby. I definitely felt he should have won it over Marcus Camby. So he got robbed of being Defensive Player of the Year. But to me, it was just a real travesty that he didn't get to go to even one All-Star game. He definitely deserved it. Like he deserved it for all the effort like he had. Like, think about it. This guy was a defensive star and just he didn't get the respect he deserved. His team was winning and they still wouldn't give him an All-Star appearance. All right, guys. I wasn't being serious about the All-Star appearance. I just felt like I had to throw that in there just as a snub to these idiots who keep on saying Draymond was worthy of being an all-star. But I just wanted to use Bruce as an example that you can be a great role player and you can have a huge effect on your team winning like Bruce did. That I definitely meant what I said about the other stuff about Bruce being a huge defensive linchpin of the Spurs, that he was very important, that if you don't have Bruce, then it's hard to win those 3 championships the Spurs did out of the 5 during that era, during the mid 2000s. Bruce was necessary in all those matchups during the playoffs, where it was Kobe, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton, or just, guarding guys like Sean Marion, Carmelo. He was needed. And he was huge against a young LeBron in 2007. That the Spurs really needed him for those assignments. And he was an elite defensive player. But that didn't make him an all-star simply because the Spurs were winning championships. That he was important, but he wasn't an all-star. Draymond fans, and I feel Warrior fanboys, always like to make that argument. But we were winning, and we needed his defense, and that's why he should have been an all-star. I'm like, no. He was a situational player, much like Bruce was a situational player with the Spurs. You put him on any regular team, and he's not going to be able to impact winning the same way. Same with Bruce. If you put him on a regular team, he can't impact winning the same way, and hence why you're not an all-star. You're an elite role player, but not an all-star. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I just think people have now forgotten the difference between being an elite role player and an all-star, whereas back in the day, it was very easy to determine that. So I just wanted to bring that out there. But the other thing I always found interesting now when I reflect on even Bruce's career, just like the double standards Bruce had when it came to his style of defense when he's playing, I'm not going to deny that he was dirty, when it came to sticking his foot underneath players. That was the unfortunate thing about Bruce, was that dirty tactic he did. But outside of that, he was a great defensive player. The guy could stick in front of people laterally. It was hard for people to get by him. He had great hands. But because he was labeled a dirty player, he could never win Defensive Player of the Year. Whereas Draymond, despite being a dirty player, it didn't matter. They gave it to him anyways. So to me, that always shows like how there's a double standard in NBA media, and they base a lot of their awards on just bullshit popularity, which I think is wrong, to be honest. But I wanted to throw that out there. And anybody in the comments who's commenting right now that I'm crazy for seeing Bruce as an all-star, well, it's obvious you didn't watch the whole entire video. So it's kind of like a test to see how stupid some people are. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.